Welcome to the Be Ruthless Show, where we have the conversations that other people don't, the conversations that other people won't. I'm your host, Sam Ruth, and I'm ready to make a lot of noise and disrupt things, ruthlessly. Thanks for being here today. Now let's get to it. Welcome back to the Be Ruthless Show. I'm your host, Sam Ruth, and happy February, everyone. Doesn't feel like it here in Colorado. I am enjoying my sunshine and warm temps. Most people think it's constantly freezing, but it is so far from the truth. We have over 300 days of sunshine. It is my favorite thing to be surrounded by blue skies. So I hope that you are having great weather or great fun where you are. I'd love to hear about it. You can reach out anytime, sam@samantharuth.com. So many awareness weeks, dates, months in February, just like I've been pointing out. February is International Boost Self-Esteem Month, National Cancer Prevention Month, National Mend a Broken Heart Month, Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So many things that we don't talk about or see on the calendar that we could live differently if we had these little reminders. So remember that your Grief Hab 2024 awareness calendar is still available. And if you have a child or teenager who would be interested in sending in a picture, we are accepting those for the 2025 calendar to get the artwork ahead of time and start preparing another beautiful calendar for you to continue making noise and talking about these days and getting them out there. If you can hear it in my voice, if you know me well, my dad would know just by talking to me, have not been I've been dealing with this crazy, dizzy vertigo thing. I mentioned it last week. It has not passed completely. It's better some days than others. So if you're listening live, I will be heading out to the doctor tomorrow morning to find out what's going on. It does feel like it's connected to my migraines. I talked about that last week, but I do not want to mess around. I have learned not to try and self-diagnose and fix it, because the longer we wait to deal with something, the worse it can be. Whether that's emotional, physical, whatever it is, it grows and it builds. So I'm not feeling right. I'm going to the doctor to see what's going on. And I want to talk about ways to protect our energy. People dating talk about protecting their heart and how it's so important to only give your heart to the right people. Our energy is the same way. I've been talking about it all year already. It's so important. And what we can do to protect it, there's the obvious things. I playfully talk about the block button, literally and figuratively, removing toxic things and people from my world. So I'm not going to go too far into that today, but there are those obvious options. You know, we do not want to put something toxic in our body or in our life. We know that much. But there's other simple ways that we might be letting our energy get invaded by others or drained. And it's not so obvious. So what are other ways? How can we protect our energy? Me going to the doctor is one way. I would not have done this before. I would have passed it off to not getting a great night's sleep, or it's obviously connected to my migraines and they're changing with hormones. So I don't need to go to a doctor for that. I can adjust my medication and figure it out by myself. Protecting our energy can mean making sure we're healthy, getting a good night's sleep, going to the doctor if we're not okay, doing the little things, staying hydrated, the things that matter. It's not just waiting for something that has neon lights saying toxic, toxic, don't eat me, don't drink me, right? So we have to pay attention to the less obvious. And a lot of my clients struggle with saying no, setting boundaries, going to things because they feel obligated. And then there's also going to things because we're struggling and we need the distraction. Staying in our own head and with our own thoughts can be overwhelming, and we can go down that hole, right? So sometimes we need more than the tools we have. So I have clients who are putting themselves back in unhealthy, dangerous, toxic environments because being alone can be difficult. So sometimes protecting your energy means being able to say, can you keep me company today? My mind is my enemy. I don't know how to deal with it myself, but I know that I don't want to go back there to a friend who you know manipulates and takes advantage of you, or a job that you know you come home feeling miserable from. So we can adjust things and we can protect our energy without obvious blocks. Who do you need to say no to today? Is there something that you said yes to that maybe you want to change your mind and say, you know what, not this month. What's another day that we could do this? Or are there some other available dates? Right? For me, driving right now, I don't feel stable. You might be thinking emotionally. I'm thinking like vertically, let alone on wheels. So accepting that rather than resisting it and not putting myself in dangerous situations like behind the wheel. That driving, something I've been doing for decades, right? Right now, to protect my energy, I'm not going to do that until I talk to my doctor and figure out what's going on. It's things that we would normally not only ignore, but maybe not only resist, argue with ourselves, talk ourselves into doing something we don't want to do or we know isn't good for us, or talk ourselves out of doing what we know is right for us. I need to stay home and rest, but no, I'm going to go to this thing because I feel obligated to, right? So the shift in, I need that rest in order to go to these things that matter to me, but I can't do it right now until I'm okay. That's protecting our energy. What do we watch? What do we eat? Who do we spend time with? Yes, those are the obvious things. But what do you need to say no to or change your mind about? What are you specifically allowing in your life that you know better, right? I argued away my intuition for over 40 years. And now I do not care if anyone laughs when I get a sign or when I have a funny feeling. That's all it takes. But the world still judges. The world still doesn't understand I am not doing this because of my intuition. Or right? Like we know that there are critics out there. So who I share that with, how I share it. These are all ways we can protect our energy. Someone invaded my world. If you are a part of my world, you know I protect my communities, this community, Grief Hab, the authors I let into the books, anyone I let into that space, because it's not just my space, it's yours. So I'm protecting my energy and yours, right? I generally do a damn good job, but I'm human. I make mistakes. I had a learning experience recently to remind me of some things I need to do on my end. We live in an age where people can pretend to be someone who they're not. So I'm a licensed psychologist. I'm allowed to ask for proof of things in this day and age, in order for somebody to be in my groups and participate, to weed out people who might be pretending so that they can come in with bad intentions. There are things I need to do a better job protecting my energy for you, protecting the collective energy. But what does that look like in your own world? What does that mean in your place? Because that could be, it might not be my world like a business. What if that's friends? What if that's family? We all know there are phone calls we hang up going, oh my God, that was exhausting, right? There are people who are draining, and that doesn't mean we don't have to have them in our lives altogether, but it might mean there are times we choose not to answer a phone call. If you are listening and you are a practitioner, if you have your own community, if you're a healer and you have these containers that you let people into, you know how sacred they are, and you know that we don't want anyone else coming in and tainting that energy. So who are you letting into yours? Sometimes there are people, no matter how much we want to see the best in everyone, there are people out there with bad intentions. And so vetting who you let into your community in order to protect the greater good, that's something we have to do if we're in these positions. So, again, I said it's a lesson. I'm putting new things in place. It also opens up the door for me to say, you know what? There were some people who I let into this world that I have to let go of. But by letting go of them, that opens the door, that makes space for new, better energy, right? Not only just the energy, but literally I removed some people from my world. So I posted over the weekend, that there are a couple of spaces in Faces of Grief. If you would like to share your story, it opens up space for me to see more clients one-on-one, which I don't do often. I give my clients so much time and attention, and they can see me when they need me, not just when they have scheduled appointments, that I don't have a new spot until an old spot leaves or graduates, or in this case, is removed. So again, thank you, universe, for giving me the lessons I need, but also for opening the door to people who really do want to be a part of our worlds. There are people who really, really are our cheerleaders and our biggest fans. And there's someone out there, really wanting this spot in the book that will be so grateful to be able to share their story in Faces of Grief that might not have gotten that opportunity. So again, protecting our energy isn't always easy. Sometimes it means literally removing people for the greater good. But I know the ripple effect that will come from that. This happened at my retreat in September. Someone left, and the ripple effect, the energy change just from saying this one space, this one person's energy is tainting everyone else's. It's not healthy. It's not good for the rest of us. We can't have it here. It's my job to make those difficult decisions. Parents have to do that. Teachers have to do that, right? When we are in positions of authority or leadership and we have other people in our space that we are caring for, we have to look out for everyone. And so maybe you have a funny feeling right now listening to this, and that is your energy saying, protect me. There's something going on in our universe that you have been overlooking because it's something not so obvious, or someone we wouldn't expect it from, right? Or something as simple as saying, I changed my mind, or I'm going to bed earlier, or I'm taking an Uber instead of driving, right? So remember, our energy is everything. It affects everything. When I'm off, that energy can affect the entire room. Think about a happy, happy room and somebody coming in who's just crabby. it can infect the entire room and change the dynamics, right? Our energy is powerful. You've seen it. Even if you don't understand it or believe in it scientifically, there's an example you can look back on and say, okay, that's what she's talking about, right? So your kids, there's a friend who you didn't want around them. It made your child behave differently. It affected their energy, right? So thank you so much for being a part of my world. Because I'm feeling off, I'm doing an episode that's short and sweet today to take care of mine and rest and do what I need to. Please reach out if this is something you want more clarity about, or if you need help figuring out how to have any sort of conversation with somebody. If you have a situation where you do need to let go of someone to make space for someone else, if there is unhealthy energy in your world, you do not have to do that alone. So I am here to help. I can connect you with someone else in your area to help. You don't have to go through these things alone. We don't have to go through anything alone. And that doesn't make us weak or lazy. When it's difficult, when it's a decision I want clarity on, getting input and feedback from people I trust is wise. It's helping me see the bigger picture. It's helping me see blind spots that I might not otherwise see. So please, please reach out and lean on people who can help you see yours if you need to. And if any of those things sounded like something you'd like to do, sam@samantharuth.com, be an author in the book, join my new program that I announced last week, which is group plus one-on-one, a group of only 6 to 8 people, plus working with me and ending that experience after bonding so much with these people you've worked with for some time, ending that with a retreat in the beautiful Colorado, where there's no other place like it, where you can have or do the things that we do at retreats out here. Any of those things sound interesting, sam@samantharuth.com. Happy February, join Team Ruthless, all of the things. I am certain I'm forgetting some of them, like I said, because I'm off, but please reach out or look at the links in the show notes to learn more about any of them. And until next time, always be ruthless. Thanks so much for listening today. Your support means everything to me, truly. If this podcast resonates with you, please do me a favor and join in the Ruthless movement by making some noise and doing one of these 4 things. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Tell a friend so we can break stigmas even faster. Leave a review so people can see what you think of the show. And last, if you want to learn more about me and be a part of the Grief Hab community, please head on over to the Facebook group. We'd love to have you. Thanks again for spending your time with us, and see you next week.